Well, good evening, everyone. Hi, this is Dr. Ellithorpe, and we are here at Tustin Longevity Center here in Southern California. We meet here every Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. We go for an hour, and we take questions largely about natural functional health approaches to various healthcare questions. And so, we're not trying to use this as a forum to manage or practice anything over the internet, but rather we're trying to just make a forum where you can get my initial impressions over the past 45 years of practicing functionally and see how I would respond to general themes in all areas of concern and how we might be a help. We have several mechanisms whereby you can get a hold of us. One of them is using a tlcdoctors.com, our email. If you get on our newsletter at tlcdoctors.com, then you can get a link sent to your email, and there we will identify your question and put it on the list to try and get it answered on every Tuesday night. Another way you can reach us is if you're on YouTube, you can type in live here in the chat and ask your questions via chat as well. So with that being said, we will say if this is of value to you, if you like having this opportunity to ask general functional questions, not for specific personal management, but our functional, integrative, alternative medicine approach here, our experience, then please like and subscribe. Share this with a friend, and we'll meet every Tuesday at 6 to 7, Lord willing. So let's start with some of our email questions. And the first one here is from Susan, and she says, hi, Dr. E. I have been diagnosed with MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome, and was wondering what advice you have about this and what I can do. I am taking antihistamines daily. I can't find a doctor that specializes in this. Any suggestions? And thanks. Yes, Susan. In general, mast cell activation syndrome is the overactivation of mast cells, and their function is to release granules out of them when they get activated to stimulate local reactions, for instance, to irritations like allergies often have mast cell activation. Injuries have it. Other situations can generate it. This then creates a broad range of functional symptoms in the human body. They're annoying, and this irritation, inflammation can become problematic. Typically, we have pathways in our biochemistry that help to deactivate histamine, which is released with mast cell degranulation. And this histaminic response, if the histamine is broken down rapidly, then it limits your symptoms and you do well. The problem comes when you can't break down histamine. There are enzymes that are involved in the breakdown of histamine. There are nutrients that are needed in the breakdown of histamine. One of the very important ones in the pathways enzymatically to break it down are some of the B vitamins. In particular, one of the pathways is pyridoxine 5-phosphate, which is vitamin B5. Okay. And very often Americans are really low in their B vitamins. And so these mast cells and their degranulation products and buildup of histamine can then generate these irritating bodily symptoms. You might find it helpful to just get isolated pyridoxine P5P, 5 phosphate. It's in good B complex supplements. I have it in mine here in my TLC methylated B complex, and I have a very good dose of it. Somewhere in the realm of 25 to 50 milligrams typically is helpful in one of the enzymatic pathways. Another pathway is also using supplements like magnesium, B6, what else? I think zinc. And these tend to be low. Americans in my general practice studying and doing labs on vitamins in the human body, I'm always weekly screening various patients, and I'm getting back low B vitamins, low minerals, low zinc, low B5 pyridoxine phosphate, low thiamine, low riboflavin, low B6 nicotinamide based B vitamins, and on. Low inositol, low B12, most famously. And so it might be wise to take a very good amino acid chelated multimineral. Ours is called TLC multimin. We combine these nutrient minerals rich in zinc and magnesium and so forth with amino acids that are beneficial in the body for a multitude of purposes. It's better absorbed, and then we methylate all our B vitamins. I find most people respond well to this. And then there's diamine oxide, DAO. This is something you can get as a supplement. Diamine oxide, DAO, is a supplement that helps to break down histamine so that there isn't as much stress on other pathways like the monoamine oxidase pathways for all of our neurotransmitters. So those are things that you can do. Before you do that, there are foods that are very high histamine provoking foods. And you can easily go on the computer and Google or search what are high histaminic foods to avoid. Or you can, another title to look up is what is an antihistamine diet? And so if you eliminated this, these foods, there are many of them and some very popular. These are so common in the diet. If you eliminate them, that might help your symptoms. Now, in general, everything that is valuable for functional good health and medicine is to do adequate water consumption, drinking structured water, better cell membrane protection, so it's less likely to be irritated by cytokines such as histamine and other molecular fragment structures that create inflammation. To exercise regularly, to stop eating late. If you're under 60 years old, try and stop eating at 5. If you're over 60, as a general line to draw, I would stop eating mid-afternoon. Eventually, we all need to give up dinner, so I had to rush home from work to try and get a healthy, protein-rich meal in before I came here to work for this video every Tuesday night. I make it happen because I want it to happen, because I want to stay healthy and stay young as long as I can to serve God. So these various things, taking systemic enzymes on an empty stomach, help remove inflammatory markers, and then getting a good night's sleep on an empty stomach. Grounding yourself in the morning helps with the getting in the sunshine, standing on the wet grass or the shoreline in the wet sand. And then you let the infrared light help with strengthening your cell repair, cell transmembrane energy. Eating a protein richer diet, because we're all typically eating such refined junk food, processed foods. We even now have an explosion of packaged foods that are sold as health foods. It's just mind boggling how we are sold a bill of goods under the label of this is health food. So, anyway, those are the beginning statements I would make. Work with a good functional doctor. Take time to address this. Work with your local doctor and start with those suggestions. It will most certainly probably be a benefit for you. Let's see. Yasmin is the next one on the email list. She says, "Hi, Dr. E. Our family has shifted to a more carnivore diet, and I'm curious about advice for to go school lunches. I know lunch meats are processed and have high sodium, and I'm wondering if that's really as bad as I think or not. I appreciate any advice on core focused diet for a family. Thanks so very much." Well, Yasmin, I'm going to say we need to teach our children to not be suckers for marketing. Uh, and tempted by our neighbors' food, smells, or presentation. This whole here is to be used to bring in foods that will help repair the body for the service, from my worldview of being a Christian, to serve the body of Christ and the kingdom of God today. And that means taking entertainment marketing out of food. So if you have roast beef last night, guess what will show up for breakfast and for their lunches? Roast beef. Uh, and this concept of variety, change. This is all more a marketing thing to get you to spend dollars chasing down pre-planned mental images of what is entertaining, what is exciting to the taste buds. And you can't live your life like that. That will harm you ultimately. What you want to rather do is teach your family how important we are made of protein and healthy fats. This stuff between my cheeks here, my fingers, is really mostly fat and protein. It's not fruits and vegetables that create the structure of the tissue in my cheek. Now, there are minerals and nutrients in the vitamins in fruits and vegetables, but structurally, we're not really composed of that. We're made of protein and fats and minerals. So you want to teach that to your children, that this is what we need to foundationally build off of. So I would put whatever protein you made in a non-plastic containers, and try and get away from plastic so much, and pre-cut it up so they can use toothpick, to take bite-sized elements, and put in some nuts and seeds, and maybe if you have some fruit, you can cut them up and put a squirt of lemon or lime on them so it doesn't brown and oxidize. But you can teach them. It's fun in teaching. When you take an apple and you let it sit out, but you take another apple and you cut it and you put some lemon juice or lime juice on it, and you wait the same amount of time, you'll see the one that had the antioxidant vitamin C in the lime or lemon juice, that apple will not break down or age as fast. That's the principle of why we're taking antioxidants as well. So my advice is, don't be marketed to. Make your own life. Live your life in service of the principles and goals that your family esteems. And I would suggest as a doctor that we have been marketed to into eating for entertainment and keeping up with the Joneses image, and self-gratification, and that's not the thing we want to teach our children. So that's my humble suggestion right there. We have some live questions starting. I'm going to go in there and answer, or try to answer Beth. Beth says, I'm 58, interested in natural hormone replacement therapy, just had blood work done. Previous blood work showed low hormone levels, which that's normal if you're 58. Any recommendations where to start? What creams do you suggest? Combo hormone creams. I I like to be following a simplistic less is more approach. I want to glorify God's creation more than my finesse in managing any medical issue. And so instead of trying to dazzle you with the idea that there's a triest cream and bias cream and all forms of approach, transdermal pellet insertion, oral patches, sublingual drops, uh, high dose, low dose. There's a Wiley protocol out there for years and years since the 1990s. I try and tell the patient hormone therapy is unique to you. So when we start, we like to start with the most simple and take what's missing. If your estradiol is low, that is what we give alone, estradiol. We put it in the most simplistic base topical cream. I use Eucerin here. I make my own. And I put a modest dose in it so that we usually start somewhere between 1 milligram dosing a day to 1.5 milligrams dosing a day. And I usually have the ladies put it on their face so that their skin, their collagen, elastin, they don't wrinkle as much. Their the health and natural growth repair support of estradiol helps everything from your cartilage to your hair to your sleep to your bones to your heart health. But it's nice to put it on the face because it helps you wrinkle less. And I start through the face and I say all over my eyelids and around the T-zone here and everything. And what's left, I fan it out up in this fashion. If I have anything left of my one little dose, I'll put it on the back and rub my wrists together so that the back of my hands don't look like old skin, 73-year-old thinning skin. And I just use estradiol, and then I recheck just estradiol. I have never seen in the approximately 40 years practicing with natural hormone replacement therapy any benefit to the jazzed up varieties of hormone replacement therapy, mixing estriol E3 with estrone E1. I just use, yes, these are natural hormones that you can find in a woman, but functionally and managerially, and to stay focused on results and good economy, I just use estradiol. Then I add in the natural progesterone, and there are no varieties of progesterone. In fact, I've known since 2002 in the studies and the retrospective analysis done on the women's study of 2002, where they scared everyone about hormone replacement therapy, that actually the synthetic Premarin was really not so problematic, but it was the Provera synthetic progestins, which are synthetic copies off of God's beautiful natural progesterone, that are now even linked with and have been known since back then with breast cancer incidence increasing. And there have been more studies since discussing this incidence associated with the use of Provera progestins, which unfortunately are in all the birth control pills, which unfortunately the vast majority of women use. And I cannot help but think that that's linked with the great additional risk problematic lifestyle exposure, in addition to all the sugar and electromagnetic energy and heavy metals and stuff that these poor girls are being exposed to, like little experimental rats. So I would find a doctor that will give you natural estradiol, and then they must recheck your hormones to see what that one dose for the absorption through your skin serves. Did it help you with vaginal lubrication? Did it help you with your sleep? Did it help you with your joint pain? Did it help you with your hot flashes? Did it help you with your night sweats? And on and on. And then that's how I would start, Beth, and then add in the progesterone after you've been on the estradiol a few weeks. And that recreates the process in which a young little girl develops into womanhood. The first hormone that really shows up is the estradiol. And then later on, her progesterone first ovulation occurs, and progesterone is second. So we reproduce that cycling, starting with the estradiol first, 1 click a day to the face, typically, or sometimes I put it to the inner wrists. And then about 2 weeks later, I'll start rolling in the progesterone and go from there. But that's how to begin. And that's how I would suggest starting with all human bioidentical natural hormone replacement, and recheck the levels within 2-3 months, and have the doctor ask, how are you feeling on all these planes, and adjust it up, down, or what. The other caveat I want to say, I try never ever to start natural hormones without giving systemic enzymes. If young girls are full of enzymes and they heal their cuts and bruises quickly, then older women who are trying to re-enhance themselves with natural hormones need to put those enzymes also back in them, because if there's any concern for blood clotting with the increased hormone levels more indicative of their youth, then you should reproduce the enzymes as well. I take 5 Vitalzyme systemic enzymes every morning on an empty stomach. And if I ache or hurt anywhere or feel congested nasally, to bring down inflammation, or I feel ill, I'll double that 5 twice a day on an empty stomach. Drink lots of water, because the water dehydration accelerates the aging and poor hormone distribution in your body. So drink more water if you're going to go on hormones. And please, for God's sake, don't eat late. If you're old enough for hormones, you're probably needing to not eat so late and be on a lower sugar, carbohydrate, fruit sugar diet. So that would be my suggestion. Cher says, is this getting through? Yes, I am. It's getting through. So Sherry Drake, S5Y. Yes, it's getting through. So go ahead and type in your question, and then I'll try and answer it. Okay. Let's go to some of our other online questions. The next one is from John. He says, I have osteoporosis, so I seemingly need a certain amount of protective estradiol, but I also have prostate cancer and low testosterone. So I need to keep the estradiol level lower. So considering my osteoporosis, should I be taking an anastrozole to lower my normal estradiol level? It sounds like a challenging balance. Well, John, what is a normal estradiol level in a man? I think that's a problematic question that the vast majority of practicing physicians are just not aware of, even though it's so foundational. I have seen men get more and more prostate cancer for many reasons. I do not believe it's testosterone. I think they lower it to try and use it as a handle in management, but it is really not curative necessarily, or necessarily the causative agent. It is a growth hormone in your male body and in a female body. So diminishing it is a mechanism that does provide some help. Estradiol is a growth promoting hormone and repair hormone. And we want these things in our body to help us to repair and to not age as quickly. But once we already have a abnormal family of cells in our body that are at risk for growing out of control with normal uh, sequence control of our immune system and hormone changes, then we've got a problem. Most men, their labs will say it's normal to have an estradiol level as high as 56. I've seen 64 on some labs. But I'm going to tell you, menopausal women, if I can get their estradiol level up to 56, 64, most of their hormone symptoms, hot flashes, night sweats, and sleep quality and mental focus seems to improve. So that's what I would therefore say is a rather hefty dose of estradiol. Therefore, I don't think it's normal for a man to go up to the range of 56 or higher. Instead, I found in the years practicing, if I kept men somewhere at 25 on the estradiol, and that is the symptomatic, real symptomatic range for women when it's really not being perceived as significant volume in the body. That's what I've chosen for my male population. This is my clinical experience. So yes, I think estradiol is important. In your scenario, since you are on anti-testosterone therapy and you are limiting the amount of estradiol in your body, remember alcohol will promote the estradiol level in men and women. So the men who have beer bellies, proof of this just is you see their breasts get bigger because it promotes gynecomastia. The alcohol estrogen association is pushed with alcohol. But you don't have your doctors reminding all their women not to drink alcohol so they don't get imbalanced hormone, estrogen dominance, and breast cancer. Uh, I don't think they're paid enough to take time to help their dear patients. But we do it here, and we accept what God gives us as income. Um, let's see. So it looks like Sherry came with her question. No, this is Barefoot in the Garden. Okay, well, let's see what it says. Hi, Dr. Rita. You missed my question. Thank you. I missed your question? Uh, okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, I did. I jumped over it. Sorry. Since I have changed my diet to meat based carnivore, more meat based, I upped my electrolytes. Is there such a thing as drinking too much electrolytes in a day? Well, yes, of course there is. But the electrolytes in meat and chicken and the skin with the chicken, roasted with fish, with pork, with sausage, with lobster, crab, crustacean, all these kind of things is usually a very supportive amount of electrolytes, minerals. But we have come through a very corrupted medical management scenario in this country. And the frightening advice of we all have too much salt is used over and over. And I would indeed say, in those people who unfortunately don't hear the truth and they eat lousy food and that potato chips and their Doritos and their Cheetos and their, salty food, cheap foods, they are creating problems and secondary medical issues in combination with the high carb nature of the foods. But to salt to taste is something that I think is very safe. Salting my meat when I eat it, my chicken, my salmon, my eggs, my I maybe lobster sometimes. I think salt to taste is something, but to try to take these new marketed again products like LMNT, uh, why can't we just eat a normal diet? Everything's got to be marketed. Uh, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and I think if you take salt to taste on any particular meat, chicken, fish, pork, whatever you're going to eat, your eggs, and you do that routinely. Now, if you're doing practices such as hot yoga 4 times a week and sweating profusely, or you're in the sauna, 4 or 5 times a week, sweating profusely, or you're an athlete with a very aggressive protocol for your workout schedule, then yeah, you're going to have to take additional salt, electrolytes, maybe 1 drink per day. But if you're doing that, you should have a doctor following you anyway to do oversight chemistry panels and electrolytes on you. But we're made fearfully and wonderfully, and we're designed for the most part to do this without YouTube advisors and stars on the YouTube and uh, doctors acting as uh, you know YouTube fame advisors on everything. We're made to do very well. So salt to taste there, and you should do quite well. I just want to say the salt I buy the Himalayan pink salt. I buy the Celtic salt. So I'm not dedicated to any one particular brand. I like the variety so that I'm getting various mining minerals from different places rather than just trying to get uh, Morton's salt at the store, Morton's iodinated salt. So that's another thing. And then, oh, here it is. Finally, it came through. Sherry Drake said, give me or more information about oral estradiol, the pros and cons. Um, I have practiced 45 years now, and I've been giving uh, estrogen therapy throughout all these years, even while I was on active duty, and there were no patches back then. So we have given oral estrogen products, although Premarin was really the only resource we had back then in the 1970s, late 70s when I started practicing, and all the way up till really they started getting a little more finessed in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. And we started having options outside of Premarin. Premarin was the equine horse female hormone concentrate. It was very unnatural, but that's the one they used in the Women's Health Study of 2002. And it generally was associated with favorable outcomes, even beneficial, less, even colon cancer was found in the group that used it. So I would say there's a long history, even if you were using the equine horse Premarin products orally, you did well no matter what. What makes something problematic is when the doctor is just throwing a pill at you and not talking about the enzymes needed, not talking about the exercise needed, not talking about the low carb and lifestyle fried foods and the hydrational state and the need for a routine time for going to bed and getting up and getting some morning sunshine, grounding yourself. These lifestyle things are just now becoming popular. We here have been doing it for decades and decades. And I am so blessed to have a wonderful long lineage of patients who are healthy 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds, and those that are now cresting past their 100th birthday. So, yeah, I would not worry about it. Unfortunately, there's people who want to make you think they know everything. I would say the idea that the oral usage of estradiol and then it's first passed through the liver is not showing any issue with the metabolism through the liver and so forth. I think it's fine. I think it's safe. I've seen it now 45 years, a half century. So no, I don't see a problem with oral. Just measure your levels and do it at least twice a year and watch how that is. I do like it balanced with a progesterone. I don't like estrogen dominance. So that's how I would approach that, Sherry. Okay. And then Okay, so as a postmenopausal woman, Deborah says, what would be the optimum number range for estradiol, progesterone, and testosterone? Well, everyone's unique, but the majority of a average menopausal woman, I would say, if her estradiol level in nanograms per deciliter, that's the standard unit, I would say somewhere between 75 to 150. And progesterone is in picograms per deciliter. That's somewhere in the realm of at least 4 to anywhere upwards of 40, 4 to 40. Because when you ovulate, you explode with your progesterone way up into the 40, 50 range and then down. So, yeah, I would say 4 to 40. Now, progesterone can make you feel tired. It helps sleep. It's a hypnagogue. So you can start out with doses that are lower. You can, 100 milligram capsule, cream of 100 milligram, uh, and and that would be a way that you have to measure with serum hormone level for progesterone and estradiol. So we've done those two: estrogen 75 to 150, progesterone 4 to 40, and then testosterone. The ranges are disgustingly low. I keep my testosterone about 150. Um, and I think women feel best at 75 to 150, much like estradiol. You have to remember the ranges that are populated on the labs are just averages for that laboratory reference ranges. There is some oversight, but most of the, or I won't say most, let's say too much of the assumptions in medicine is that the reference ranges are referring to someone who is healthy. And now that everyone in this country, 93% have some metabolic uh, 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 syndrome component in their being, either their blood sugar or their insulin or their triglycerides or their blood pressure or their weight or their hip to waist ratio. You have any of these that are elevated, 93% of Americans are in this pre metabolic syndrome state. So why would you think that the reference range is based off of these sick Americans, 93% of us, is giving you the right answer? It's not. Therefore, much of what I see, or a good deal of it, is inappropriately high or low. I saw, for instance, a C-reactive protein just recently in the past month or two. I have patients from out of state coming by. They fly out here to see me, international occasionally. And what happens is they'll bring their lab in, like when it comes from Japan or Spanish countries. And you see these ranges. And then I see maybe in Louisiana or South Carolina or Washington State, some of these C reactive proteins are allowed to be up to 10. 10. And I would think it'd be generous if you would say the inflammation marker of C-reactive protein up to a 3 would be tolerable. Okay, that's pretty average. Uh, but the ideal, and don't you want your doctor to know what ideal is? Well, if you really want to live long and see your grandchildren grow and maybe even a great grandchildren born, you want optimal. And so 1.0 or less is the optimal. Okay. So on these hormone ranges, I could cry that I see so much of these hormone levels dismally low because most women are not being managed optimally. And every time I get lab back on my patients, I have to cross off the red marks: high estradiol, high progesterone, high testosterone, um, high B12, um, uh, and then insulin. It's ridiculous how insulin, they in some labs let it go up to as high as 25 is called a normal fasting insulin. That's, in my opinion, a death sentence. And many of them are allowing 18.9 as their upper limits. That's, I think, a death sentence. I honestly think a optimal fasting insulin needs to be 5.5 or less. Better it would be if it's 4 or less fasting. So you see, I have a problem with the practice of clinical medicine in that I don't think there's enough curiosity for that doctor to go home and look and see what is healthy and work with each patient as an individual, not a group. And try a little more estradiol. How do you feel? Come back in a month or two, three at the most. Try a little more testosterone. See how you feel. Come back in a month or two or three. See how you feel. Check that bone density. See how it's responding to your hormones. Add in your inflammatory markers. Add in your uh, insulin levels, various things to just see how you're doing. That's what a clinician is. But if you're just a protocol doctor following protocols, I mean, of course, AI will take your job eventually. Okay. But we have to think, we have to solve a problem and listen. And so we try and get as much done at any one visit here. But if you think the insurance payment for a routine visit here covers costs, that's a laughing, rolling on the floor, laughing joke by the time that comes through. It's really sad. And I understand why doctors won't work for pittance like we do here. All right, let's see. Where are we at? The next question is Marcella Siebert says, how do you know your hormone levels? Only a Dutch test can tell. No, that's not true. Any test that is reproducible and manageable and has input and result and maintains that with a sustained following over months and years, that's a reproducible test and it's valid. Yeah, the Dutch test is out there. There's all kinds of things. I'm all for research and so forth. But I have never seen the Dutch test used as economically and valuably as normal serum levels of your hormones. Very often, salivary samples will get contaminated in an older woman's mouth. She has more periodontal disease, and when she makes the saliva, she'll get a red blood cell or two, and that'll reflect a serum input, and that'll throw off the Dutch test results. So that's my thought on that. Deborah says, gosh, mine originally was 40 estradiol 5 years ago with the same small dose and just got labs, and it is under 30 for estradiol. Yeah, there you go, Deborah. So you have to talk with your doctor. And if there's no contraindication, which we have quite a few women post breast cancer who are on natural hormone replacement therapy, but they live the healthy lifestyle and do the other detoxing enzyme and therapies following their oncologist management, and they do very well. Those are ridiculously low levels, and it will maybe be at risk for osteoporosis, memory issues, lack of sleep, less of healing at night, those kind of things. So we like to ideally keep them in, girls' hormones for estradiol can, go as low as 25-ish at the follicular phase starting. And then they can go up and peak maybe as high as 400 or 500. So to get at 75 to 150 is not something colossal or high, but having less than 30, you're really just spitting in the wind, basically. Let's get another one of these email questions in. This is from Mary. Mary says, other than keeping your immunity up in the first place, what would you recommend at the first sign of strep throat? There seems to be a lot going around right now, and my daughter ended up in the ER last night with what seemed to be a large abscess. She was trying to fight it off naturally with garlic drops. Yeah, Mary, a tonsillar abscess can turn out to be a medical emergency. So we don't want to fool around. There is a place and appropriate time for antibiotics for surgical drainage of a tonsillar abscess or immediate referral uh, if clinically deemed safe to see an ear, nose, and throat for possible incision and drainage or watchful waiting. So you have to be careful, yeah, and you have to keep your immune system up. I would say tonsillar abscesses are rare. Now, I'm not a specialist, so I'm not getting tonsillar abscesses coming to me, but I can tell you in the 25 years I've been here at this location in Tustin, um, I have rarely seen a strep throat that needed referral for any emergent issues. And the rare case of strep positive quick test here and then culture later, we give them the appropriate antibiotic, and but it's rare. So it's true. Keeping your immune system up with a low carb diet, going to bed on time, taking good oral hygiene, and taking your vitamin D, your zinc, things like this are very valuable. Watching that sugar in your diet, keeping that down so you don't ruin your immune system, keeping a multi-mineral for your zinc levels up, and so forth. That's the ideal. Now, Argentine silver gargle and swallow is helpful with oral hygiene. Using a toothpaste that has xylitol and hydroxyapatite is more helpful and less harmful than Listerine type product, antiseptic mouthwashes that kill all this bacteria. You want good beneficial bacteria on your tongue to help your body make nitric oxide. You want to have good probiotics in your system as well. So the toothpaste I use is Radius Immunity. I get it at Sprouts, and it's got the xylitol and the hydroxyapatite in it for good oral health, and that's what I would recommend. But if your daughter is having that, yeah, go to the ER, and if there's an abscess, follow the instructions there because you're now in the zone where you need standard medical management. Okay, Deborah says, gosh, mine originally was 40. Okay, so I saw that already. All right, so let's see if I can get the last couple of emails here. Lisa said, hi, Dr. E. I want to seriously apply your request for me to increase protein intake to my diet. Well, those are my recommendations in general. I don't know who you are in particular, Lisa. This is not meant to be over-the-counter management through the YouTube medical advice. You can see your doctor, but at about 130 pounds, doing strength workouts 2 to 3 times a week and walking once a week, how many grams of protein per day would you recommend? The general rule is at least 1 milligram per pound. Okay, so 130 grams of protein a day. And do you recommend the Chomps meat sticks? I don't know that brand, Chomps, or any other non-animal proteins that are easy to grab and go. Yeah, I don't go into this world of easy and grab and go. I'm sorry. I wake up early and eat what I prepared late at night. I usually do food preparation in the evening so that it's ready in the morning. I put a roast on slow cook. I'll get up at 4:35, 5:30 the latest, and I'll be doing my all my morning duties and getting my protein in if I'm going to do it. So no, I don't know chomp sticks. I wouldn't recommend anything over the counter. I have a protein stick that I have used. I don't know the name of it. It's got like a chipotle flavor in it. So I'm not a prude in that I wouldn't try something like that. But my general rule is I've got eggs in my refrigerator here in my office. I've got walnuts. I have cottage cheese and yogurt. What else do I have in there? A can of tuna. Yeah. So that's what I do. All right. And then the next question is Harlow. Blessings, Dr. Rita. Thank you for that, Harlow. I want to install a water structure system for my whole house. Who do you recommend, and do you need to add a softener? Have you heard of a system that you can add vitamin C? No, I've never heard of that. But if you go to analemmawater.com, so it's there's a dash in there, ANALEMMA dash water.com. Their website has even a whole house for the structured water, and you don't necessarily need to do a water softener with it. You can add it in line with your water softener, but I'm not an expert on that. I have a water softener. I don't think it's working because nobody ever puts salt in the container, let alone me. And so I don't even know if my water softener system works in my house. I don't have the Analemma house system. I really can't afford it. But I do have the Analemma wand, and I do have a Berkey water filter. So you just improvise. I don't have the answer for you, Harlow. Sorry. Constance, can a person with type 2 diabetes, overweight, get better on a strict diet and get off meds? Most of the ones I've walked through this, the answer is yes. A friend, 76, a woman, I guess that's who this is. Yes, I think you can get over diabetes and on a strict diet, get off meds, but you have to exercise. So that's very important, and get certain nutrients. Find a good functional doctor and try and work that through and tell them what your goals are. And yes, my experience is in general, yes. Michelle says, what helps the most when you're starting to lose your memory? What is your recommendation? Well, are you on hormones? How high is your sugar and starch and fruit sugar in your diet? Are you drinking alcohol? What time do you go to bed? Do you get up in the morning and get some morning sunshine with the infrared first flood at sunrise? Do you ground and put your feet in the ground so you get the energy that way? And do you hydrate your water so that your cell transmembrane potential from the water lining every cell in your body and every nerve gets more energy that way? And do you exercise, both weightlifting and aerobic? And are you eating enough protein and healthy fats? Are you on hormones? Are you on systemic enzymes? Are you taking creatine? That helps. So those are all the various things I would work through with my patient, plus other minor ones. Let's see, I have a couple more. Nori says, what are your thoughts on hydrogen water and hydrogen tablets for water? Do you think they're beneficial? I'm going to say hydrogen, that's, the smallest element. It's a proton. It works in helping with the electrical nature of our body chemistry. I'm not going to say it alkalinizes you, but I am going to say that part of structured water around every cell membrane is associated with generating a free floating proton, just like taking hydrogen tablets or hydrogen water. So there is a rationale for that. There is a biochemical understanding of its benefit. I'm going to say life is not any one thing. It is a complexity of being, I think, grateful, at peace, thankful for being forgiven, and then adding in your lifestyle, your routine, your dietary humble menu, rather than using your mouth as an entertainment hole. You're trying to live a lifestyle that you're here for a reason, a purpose. You matter. There are those around you that depend, care, or love, or need you in some manner, shape, or way, or form. We have to have these happy thoughts because our thoughts are going to generate our actions. Um, Philippians 4:8, whatever's lovely, beautiful, of good report, think on these things. So even if there's someone irritating you, you have to shove away the irritation about them and you have to think, what can I think lovely about that person? What can I think uh, beautiful about that person, or of good rapport? And then focus on that, because I'm no perfect person. My poor family has to put aside some of the detractions they know about me so well and intimately, and think on the good things. So everything we do uh, uh, will help our memory. Everything we do will help our weight. Our every supplement that we take will have more impact, including hydrogen. And Jennifer, the last one, it says here, my whole life, currently 69, my triglycerides have been low. Well, that's good. That's a positive sign for longevity. They have been in the 30 range and down to even single digits. Well, that's getting pretty low. I understand this is supposed to be good. Can you review triglycerides and how to have enough of them and not just that low is good? I've never seen in 45 years a human being with a triglyceride level that is single digit. I just haven't. I have seen people maybe with a triglyceride level in the teens, the upper teens. I have never seen anything negative about low triglycerides ever in my practice of 45 years. So I think that's a good sign for longevity. Triglycerides are a very simple fatty acid chain that is made as a storage vehicle, mostly when you're eating so many carbs and starches and sugars. Your body will convert that into a triglyceride that's put into a fat cell, typically, if it isn't burnt up immediately. I'd be interested in knowing your weight, your dimensions, and other vital lab about you. But in general, nobody has low triglycerides without living a healthier lifestyle, and it predicts a long life. It predicts a long life. Let's see. Here's some extra questions coming in. Uh, Deborah says, "What are your thoughts on fasting? A 3-day water fast or any kind of fasting to assist healing?" Um, the older you get, the more dangerous prolonged fasts can become. I used to do 5-day fasts twice a year. I'm down to a 3-day fast because I have to fight to keep my muscle mass in my 70s now, my early 70s. So I think a 3-day fast is sufficient for any kind of mitophagy or autophagy or human growth hormone stimulation for cellular repair and so forth. Uh, how often would I do that? Maybe quarterly. Instead, I would say exercise, see your doctor, get your triglycerides checked, your fasting insulin, get your hemoglobin A1C and your fasting blood sugar. Check these things and live with intermittent fasting so that you're always living in a world of doing something like 16 hours fasting and an 8-hour window of eating per day, or even less, maybe 18 or 20 hours fasting and a 4-hour window of eating. That's preferable, and just have that followed. The next thing would be, uh, uh, let's see, greatest high faithfulness. Hi. If 65-year-old man needs 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, how do you meet that goal? Or do you recommend supplementing with protein? I have chosen some supplementation. I use the Perfect Aminos. It's a well-studied, clinical, doctor-designed amino acid tablet. It does come as a powder, but I can't stand the taste of it, so I swallow the tablets. 5 tablets is roughly equivalent to 15 grams of protein. So I take 5 or 10 per day. That gives me roughly 15 to 30 grams right there. And if I'm eating, another uh, 150 grams of protein a day, that'll cover for my 1 gram per pound roughly. And that's how I do it. And then Mano Papali says avoid L-cuminum. I don't know what that is. I'll have to look it up. L-cuminum. I don't know what that is. Mano Papali. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right. So it is 7 o'clock. We got through all of my questions and we got through all the chat. And so I'm going to say, praise the Lord. Again, if this is of value to you, please like, please share. And we'll see you next Tuesday at 6 o'clock in the evening. And we'll go from there. And so I wish you a God bless and be blessed and be a blessing to others. And just be forgiving, okay? And forgive yourself too. All right. God bless. Bye-bye.